Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
Welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast, where we add real life value to the lives of everyday people. Folks, it has never been easier to listen to this podcast. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Twitter, and Facebook. Simply search Today with Tally and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to get every episode and stay up to date with the latest and greatest our guests in this show has to offer. Folks, I am trying to reach all of you business owners out there. Hit me up, thetallybill@gmail.com. Look, let's advertise your business right here on this podcast. Let me help you reach your goals. Let's put a marketing plan together and develop a strategy to take your business to the next level. We have increased engagement on all of our social media platforms and pages, and we are reaching literally millions of people per month on our pages. And, we could share this information with you. We're very transparent. I'm a very transparent guy. And again, we are looking for show sponsors to help support the program, help it grow and help it reach, again, the hearts and minds of millions out there who would love to tune in and become inspired and perhaps motivated and encouraged by our guests and by what we talk about on this podcast. But we can't do it without you and your support. We are looking for show sponsors, whether you've got gear, you've got merchandise, you got products, business events. You're trying to get an event out to the general public. Let me know. We can help with that too. Or perhaps you have some business services that you want to get out to the general public. So hit me up. I'd love to sit down and talk with you, have a conversation, and bring you on as a show sponsor. How about that? Be like Chase's Choice. Chase's Choice is today's show sponsor. Now, let me tell you about Chase's Choice. There are good friends that are located in Canyon City, Colorado. Chase's Choice is an industry leader in cannabis and hemp products and continues to heal those in need. Whether you are struggling from physical pain, anxiety, depression, or having trouble sleeping, there is a product for you that will improve the quality of your life. Ken, the founder of Chase's Choice, continues to engage in open conversation on the benefits of cannabis and hemp, CBD, CBG, CBN, THC, and all of the other cannabinoids found in the plant through extensive research and development. To learn more, visit Chase's Choice online today at chaseschoice.org. That's chaseschoice.org. Or call Ken directly. He's the owner. 719-371-0768. That's 719-371-0768. Ken's a great guy, and he always makes time to help educate the people that are asking questions about CBD, hemp, THC, all of these questions that people have. He's there. Just call him. He'll answer the phone, and he will answer all of your questions, and he will see about what he can do to develop a strategy to help you feel better, to get you feeling better. That's what this is all about, folks. This is all about wellness. Now, CBD was Chase's Choice. What's yours? Folks, always remember to consult with your doctor before starting any alternative medicine products, and to always check with your state and local municipalities on the laws regarding the use of CBD and hemp products. Wow, it's kind of crazy that he's today's show sponsor, because we're going to be talking about cannabis, hemp, and THC, and all of these cannabinoids that are medicine. Now, my phone's been ringing off the hook since last night, and I've had tons of messages today. As you can see behind me, I've got bills, and I've drafted all those bills, and I was fortunate enough to change a federal law after years of working in Congress, really for the good of the country. Nearly 3.5 years spent in Congress, 115th Congress and the 116th Congress, learned how to become an advocate, to advocate for veterans' rights, protections, and safeguards, safeguarding the veteran community. And of course, my case was VA medical malpractice. That's left me in permanent pain. I suffer from physical pain, anxiety, bouts with depression. And a lot of the times, for years and years, really since about January 2016, I've been on a lot of pills, pharmaceuticals, right? With the pain, with the anxiety, with the depression. That's what I've been treated with, is pills. And I've always thought that was, par for the course, right? That's my life. So I've accepted it. And that's where we're going to head down that rabbit hole today. In 2017, I became I saw what was going on in Congress. I showed up there in 2018 with the bill. But in 2017, I started doing my research on how I was going to change an outdated law that destroyed me and my family and thousands of others before me. So a lot of research, picking up a law book. I didn't have a congressman. My story is very rare, but it happened. So I would end up going into Congress and lobbying, again, on behalf of the good of the country, on behalf of 20.2 million American veterans. And I saw a lot. I see how Congress works, and I see all these little things, all the sausage making, if you will. I saw that, and I learned it. And I became effective at speaking and effective at lobbying and influencing members of Congress and their professional staffers to do the right thing. Now, why is everybody calling me? Why is everybody up in arms today about what happened yesterday in the Senate? Well, yesterday there was a cloture vote on the motion to proceed Senate Bill 326, and it was rejected. In order for that bill to advance to the next round, there needs to be a 3/5 majority vote, and it fell short, 57-42. They did not have the 3/5. Brian, what's a cloture vote? You're speaking politics to me. Break it down. Well, it basically means the talking is over and it's time to vote. Everybody's been heard. The discussions are done. The hearings are done. The debates, the research has been done on the subject matter, and a vote is needed for it to advance. Not to pass, but to go to the next round, if you will, to go to the next level. Now, yesterday, the opposition came from Senate Republicans. But this is not about left, right, blue, red. This has everything to do with timing, and it has everything to do with the election cycle. Both sides are guilty of this practice. Now, what is Senate Bill 326, and why is it so important to the veteran community? Well, the bill requires the Department of Veterans Affairs to study the effects of cannabis on veterans who are enrolled in VA healthcare and have been diagnosed with either post-traumatic stress and or chronic pain patients. I check both of those boxes. Now, what the bill would do is it would require the VA to conduct an observational 18-month study on the effects of cannabis only on eligible veterans. Now, this bill does not give the green light to prescribe cannabis or to even introduce it to the veterans. This is all simply research. Now, in my eyes, our nation has already done a ton of research into the health benefits of cannabis, hemp, and THC. The cannabinoids found in the plant is medicine. And folks, look, I'm a dare kid. I grew up in the 80s in San Diego. Fast times at Ridgemont High. I was scared straight. Drugs, never. Marijuana, I've always been, nope, that's bad. That's bad, that's bad, that's bad. I'm 46 years old. Until about 6 months ago, I was introduced to my show sponsor, Chase's Choice, out of Canyon City, Colorado. Why? Because I did a show on all the pills I have to take day out to make it through the day. Between pain and anxiety and nerve pain and neuropathy and all this, my neck and my spine, my bladder, I live in pain. Now, I do what it takes every single day to improve the quality of my life because it's the only one I got, right? It's the only body I got. So I do things. I'm very disciplined. I intermittent fast. I go on walks. I drink a ton of water. I do everything that I need to be doing to give me the best shot of living the best life I possibly can, given the hand I was dealt. So, what has happened since Ken reached out to me? Well, he saw the pills I was on. He goes, hey, there's a better way. Let me show you. I'm going to send you a care package of cannabis and hemp and CBD and CBG and CBDVA and all of these components and compounds in the cannabinoids found in the plant. Like I was saying, it's medicine. I swear by this stuff. Immunity, CBDA, the gummies. This stuff improves the quality of your life, sleep. It has reduced the amount of pills I have to take now. I mean, going from 40 to 30 to 20, living at about the 15 pill mark now. But I've taken a lot of pills that I haven't had to take, and I've thrown them away because there is a better way. There's hope out there for a lot of patients like me. And that hope can be found in cannabis. Now, I'm not some national veteran advocate when it comes to THC and medical marijuana and all. I'm not that guy. People have asked my opinion on what happened in the Senate yesterday on Senate Bill 326, and I'm going to give it to you. And all I know is what I know. I'm only going to be speaking on my experience. And I'm only going to be speaking from my opinion. And it's going to get political. But the conversation needs to be had. And I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm going to explain to you why everything is happening the way it's happening. Because it may not make a lot of sense to a lot of you guys out there, but it makes total and complete sense to me. Because I've already been through the firestorm, if you will, of Congress and how they like to play games. It's what it's all about. It's about anger and division and about keeping you angry and divided and everything else that they like to do to drive in their duties, if you will, and their jobs, and to try to I don't even know the word. But anyways, why are we talking about this? Why is this even a debate? We know that CBD and cannabis, all that stuff works. We know it. We know this. And really the bill, all it was going to do was it was just going to open the door for more clinical research. But again, that's stalling to me because we already know it works. People are talking about this is because it's emotional. And veterans want to feel better. So when it comes to alternative medicine, all veterans are paying attention. And again, I was never a supporter of medical marijuana or any of this stuff until it was introduced to me in a positive setting. Not like, hey, I'm a stoner. No, guys, that's the past stuff. Like I was telling you, we're no longer living in the times that, the fast times at Ridgemont High society. We're living in a society now where we have gotten so much great research and development on the stuff that actually does work. Like the salve I have here that I put on my neck and my back every single day and down my legs for the neuropathy. Anxiety and depression. Again, it's not a one size fits all approach, guys. These are all different types of things here that fit me. And that's why it's important to understand the actual benefits of what we're going to explain and what we're going to be talking about today, because it works. It works. You sit down with somebody who understands the health and wellness and the benefits of this stuff, and you will find it work in you. You just have to give it some time, and you have to be open to it. You have to open your eyes and your mind and be willing to accept something that could help you. And I'm always down for that. Heck, I just got my alpha stem after a long time waiting for it. I have an alpha stem now that I can even add to my regimen for pain and for anxiety and depression and everything else that's associated with me. All right. So this bill, Senate Bill 326, it got shot down. They got shot down, and they got shut down by House Republicans. Now, what else was in the bill? Because people are like, yeah, there must have been other stuff in the bill. Because there's no way the Republicans would want to shoot down a bill like this. Well, the bill had two other items in it that would help transitioning service members get fast-tracked. For an example, a motor T driver in the Marine Corps. They're getting out. They have a CDL in the Marine Corps, but that's not translatable in the civilian world. So what would this bill do? Well, this bill would also help fast-track those folks get a CDL in the civilian sector and find a job quickly. Job placement. Go from being active duty and fast track your way right into the civilian world with a job and with the requirements and with the certifications that you need. All right. So, okay, that makes sense. The last item was additional healthcare access. Now, I didn't dig into but I've had plenty of calls today with the Senate VA committee on both sides, the Dems and the Republicans. And there was really nothing in the bill that was controversial or any major cause of concern. It was pure politics. This was pure politics by senators who swear to support veterans. And trust me, I know they've told me that to my face. Let's name some names. And there's plenty here to choose from on the Republican side, but I'm going to go through some of the names that you may recognize. Senator Cornyn out of Texas. Well, he was just reelected. He's got nothing to worry about because they're going to forget about this in a month. It'll just be old news. Well, he was just reelected. And then you have Senator Cruz. Well, he's going to get reelected. Then you have Lindsey Graham. Well, he was just reelected. And it's funny because I used to watch Fox News back when he was on with Sean Hannity, always talking about how he needs support and to go to his website. Go to lindseygraham.com. Go to lindseygraham.com. The world's on fire. Donate to my cause. I need to be reelected. He's begging us for his vote. But when he gets reelected, dude flips. And it's no longer important to do the right thing because he's a party line voter. I get it. Both sides do it. But when you start to see it over and over again, and to see how these guys act right before the election, when they're begging the American people for their vote, they're begging you to go to their website to leave generous donations so you can continue to pay these made men and made women to do the wrong thing. But they're good at it because they always use emotion. when this happens. Here's one for you. Senator Josh Hawley. He voted yes on this. Now, he's a guy that typically will never vote with the Democrats. It is very rare that he does that. And why did he do so? Well, he's up for re-election. And he's got some contenders in Missouri. Well, you look at Missouri, right? There's 425,000 veterans in Missouri. And this bill is big. It is a big deal. Senate Bill 326 is a big deal because this, again, is some of, I think, some of the most important legislation we have in the veteran community right now because of what it can do, how it can save lives. How it can save lives. That's what this is about. It's about healing people. It's about health and wellness. Now, 425,000 veterans in Missouri. Now, 10%. That's 10% of the state's population. So he had to vote yay on this bill. Tracking yet? McConnell. Yeah, he didn't want to vote yes on that. Again, party line guy. Mullen out of Oklahoma. Senator Rand Paul voted no for it, but yet all he talks about is the fentanyl crisis pouring in through the southern border. So is this really about cannabis? Is it really about improving the lives of veterans? If he finds it so important to talk about what fentanyl is doing, I mean, show me the cases and the studies on what cannabis has done to people. How many people, how many veterans have died because they have taken CBD or CBG or CBDVA or salves that help improve the quality of their life? I really can't find any. I know what alcohol does. Senator Mitt Romney voted no. And this is the guy who loves to vote with Democrats. As a matter of fact, he's done it 32 times. Just in the 116th Congress. But on this one, he didn't. Rubio, same thing. All they talk about is fentanyl. Tillis, out of North Carolina, voted no. Now, these are all guys that told me to my face that they do anything for the veteran community. And we don't politicize the veteran community. Why did this bill get blocked by Republicans? I'll tell you why it did. And again, guys, it happens on both sides. I'm actually a registered Republican. And I don't really tell people that. I mean, when I worked in Congress, I was apolitical. I was nonpartisan. I was representing 20.2 million American veterans. But you know what? I'm pulling my R. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done with Democrats. I'm done with Republicans. I'm done with everybody in Congress. As far as I'm concerned, I am an independent. I am an American first. And it's time that we start holding our elected leaders accountable for their actions or lack thereof. Now, this got blocked because Senator John Tester is a Democrat out of Montana. He also chairs the VA committee at the Senate level. So he's the chairman of the Senate VA committee. Now he's running for re-election 2024, just as Hawley is from Missouri. Again, he's the author of this bill and he's the chairman. That says a lot right there, because now it says, okay, the Republicans need to take the Senate in 2024. So why would we want to make this guy look good? Because if he could pass this, there's a lot of veterans in Montana. He could most certainly be reelected. He will have some really good records to show on why you need to reelect me. Now, this came from a quote from Senator John Tesser last night. He said, and I quote, 41 Senate Republicans are telling the men and women who have defended our country that their government doesn't value their sacrifices. It's true. I mean, it's a true comment. But again, you can just take the word Republican out and just put you can just use the word our government or our senators or our members of Congress don't value the sacrifices of veterans. Now, right now, we are in political theater. In my opinion, this bill will pass. And there will be plenty of fanfare and a victory lap once we get closer to the next election cycle, which is quickly approaching. And in the interim, all veterans are doing what? We're talking about it. Who does the bill hurt? Veterans, right? That's all it hurts here. It just hurts the veterans because the senators and the congressmen, all those guys that swear an oath to protect the veteran community and everything they have, else they do for their constituents and this and that. It's all just hot air. What does talking about this mean? It means that it will create several other groups, several other veteran service organizations to get involved and waste additional tax dollars on having additional hearings on Senate Bill 326 on what we already know to be fact. It works. There's nothing more to talk about here. Again, this is all politics here on the backs of our most vulnerable and at-risk population in our country, the veteran community. Now, do you know how much money is going to be changing hands? You know how much money is going to be changing hands over this bill? You got Big Pharma, you got all the cannabis, you got all the VSOs, you got all these donations coming in to all these 501c3s to go advocate for the veterans and this. And I mean, dude, this is big money. Continue it on because they didn't kill the bill. It just didn't pass cloture. So all hope is not lost on this bill. Again, they're just playing political football with a bunch of people out there who may not otherwise know how to connect these dots and what their power plays are and what their end goal is here. Now, this Senate Bill 326, would have helped so many veterans. However, fentanyl continues to pour across our border every day, killing Americans at an alarming rate. So is this about medical marijuana? I don't think so. For the first time in the history of the United States, our nation surpassed 100,000 overdoses in a 12-month period. Of those 100,000 overdose fatalities reported from April 2020 to April 2021, over 64,000 deaths were due to fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that is 80 to 100 times stronger than morphine. Now, these numbers have rapidly increased since this study was done. And they have rapidly increased in 2022 and have no signs of slowing down 4.5 months into 2023. Disturbingly, fentanyl has quickly become the leading cause of death amongst adults aged 18 to 45. 18 to 45, that's like the really good parameter for veterans and military folks. And that 18 to 45 are people that could really use the help of cannabis and hemp. They're also voters. 18 to 45, man, that group, that's where the majority of your voters are coming from. There's a lot of voters between the ages of 18 and 45. Between April 2020 to April 2021, fentanyl claimed 40,010 lives, resulting in almost twice as many deaths in the 18 to 45 age range as COVID-19, which was 21,335. Cancer, that was 17,114. Car accidents, which was 22,442. And suicide, which was 21,678, respectively. Our government can end this fentanyl crisis in a week. 1 week. Where's our senators? Where's our members of the House? The congressmen and congresswomen who are supposed to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. Our military and our federal resources can be put on the border to literally stop this fentanyl crisis in 1 week. But they're not doing it. It continues to pour across the border. And we know this to be fact. But let's shoot down a medical marijuana, CBD, THC, all the cannabinoids found on the plant that's medicine to save the lives of veterans. The vast majority of fentanyl is manufactured in China and enters the United States via the southwest border. In fact, the DEA reports that an astounding 80% of fentanyl in America comes into our country through the U.S.-Mexico border. Fentanyl is often the supplemental drug of choice for smugglers and dealers, as the illicit synthetic opioid is cheaper than heroin and nearly 50 times as potent. It doesn't just stop at pure fentanyl. As the National Institute on Drug Abuse reported in 2021, 75% of cocaine deaths and 50% of all meth deaths, the drugs were all mixed with fentanyl. Brian, those kids shouldn't be doing drugs. Those people between the ages of 18 and 40, they should not be doing drugs. Well, yeah, I get it. But there's people that do experiment with drugs, and they think they're taking one thing, and it's actually something else, and they die. They think they're rolling a joint, and it's got fentanyl in it, and they die. They're in a lot of pain. They can't get, opioids or, whatever it may be, oxycodone or hydrocodone from their doctors, so they buy it on the streets. Well, they didn't know it was laced with fentanyl, and they die. That's a big problem. Again, let's talk about how many deaths medical marijuana has caused in our country. Again, we could end this in a week, but we fail. We're failing the American people. And it's in our face. Now, Congress plays both sides of the fence here. And we, the people, allow them to do so. I mentioned it yesterday in a podcast that members of Congress are causing all of the hate and division in our country. They keep you angry. They keep you freaking going on Twitter and causing wars and strifes and all this. I have finally had enough. And I started to implement this, even though it's hard. It's very hard. But I do my best. No anger, no worries, no politics. But it's so hard because everything in our life is political now. Everything is politicized. And you have to understand, the sausage making in Congress is all about give and take. And I understand how it works. It's the compromise here. It's all political theater, like I said in my opening statement. It's what can you do for me? And when everything falls apart, that's when the real division starts. And that's when the real theater begins. Guys, I have seen members of Congress on opposite sides of the aisle literally fight in a debate or in a hearing and literally walk out of that chamber and go to lunch like they're buddies. For real, I've seen it with my own eyes. Now, what happened yesterday was a political move. There's no doubt about it. Senate Bill 326 should have passed cloture, and it should have advanced, but it didn't. It was a political move. Again, both sides are guilty of running the country like this because we've allowed it. We have tolerated it. And there is one thing that I absolutely cannot tolerate is politicized veteran community, because I was in it. I was in it with my own bills and with my own fight. And by the grace of God and the strength and the endurance and the tenacity, I was able to pass a bill in the most divided Congress in the history of our nation. But it shouldn't have been some broke down guy from Southern California who had been railroaded and no longer even has a member of Congress to do the job of Congress. Why does it take a guy like me and all the other thousands of advocates in this country to stand up for the good of the country, to do the job of Congress, to do the job that they were elected to do, and to also do the job that they have failed to do? I'll tell you why. Because Congress uses veterans as political pawns. It works. It's effective. Veterans are very involved in a lot of aspects in life. And one of the most beautiful things about America is voting, is going to the ballot box. It's the freedom, right? Veterans vote. We vote. And they know it. And it's not time for election season right now. They're running. They're running for it. But see, they have to prioritize it, and they have to strategize this, guys. You don't think that these members of Congress and these senators and everybody else right there, they've already got this strategized? Oh, yeah, they do. A guy like me is doing a podcast on it today because we cannot tolerate this type of governing anymore in our country. It happens every day. It happens at every single level. It happens from subcommittees all the way up to the House Foreign Affairs. I mean, literally every day. There's so much of this stuff that goes on that should never, ever happen. It's as if they're running the country directly into the ground. We have far too many smart people in this country to allow that to happen. Now, veteran suicide is on the rise, and studies are showing that 22 veterans a day, and that could be on the lower end, actually. It could even be much higher than that. The latest studies have shown up to perhaps 40. I don't know if that's accurate. I can only research what I can research, but I've seen it as high as 40. I've seen it as low as 16. All right, so we got a 16 to 40. Regardless, we have veterans killing themselves every day in this country. Now, why are veterans killing themselves? That's the $1 million question. Because if we know why they're killing themselves, we can help prevent it. Now, here are a few of my factors that could be a contributor to the cause of suicide. And again, this is only my opinion. Alcohol abuse, opioid addiction, socioeconomic status, delayed or denied care at the VA, VA denials, the wounds of war, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress. How does the VA treat this? They treat it with drugs. They treat it with pharmaceuticals, pills. That's what they treat it with. What if I told you that we have a safe alternative to pharmaceuticals and big pharma and drugs and all this stuff readily available that's already had so much research and development on it, and it's been proven to work? Case in point, me. I'll use me as an example. You know, right now I'm taking eight to 10 less pills per day. Mainly my pain, so, all the ibuprofens and all the acetaminophen and the hydrocodones, my pills for my muscle relaxers. It's cyclobenzaprine, some long word. But what I'm saying is the stuff that Ken over at Chase's Choice has put me on has improved the quality of my life over the last 6 months. And when you see your life improve, you get excited about it. You have a sense of gratitude. And when you're feeling good, your confidence is raising and you start to do more with your kids and you start to experience life again after years and years of sitting in a chair, or after years and years of just battling through the pain. Yes, the pain is not gone, guys. This is a tool. It's medicine. It's not going to take it all away, but it's safe and it's effective and it's healthy. And it does help with the pain and the anxiety and the depression. Instead of you being at an 8 or a 9, you could be at a 5, 6. It's working. And it's not going to make you a zombie and make you all, somebody you're not. And it's not going to sink you into a chair where a lot of the times, a lot of these pharmaceuticals you're going to be taking so much of it, it's going to make you a zombie. And that's where the self-isolation starts. And then before you know it, you're in this anxiety and depressed, riddled state, trying to figure out how the hell you're going to survive it, as everything is compounding around you like interest. Now, the Veterans Crisis Line, dial 988, then press 1. That's something that every veteran should know about, and also the spouses and really anybody who's connected to any veteran, because sometimes you may need to make that call for them. I know it's not an easy thing to do, but if we're going to save lives, you got to talk about it. And the only way to do that is get out of your comfort zone and show that you care and begin to help encourage those in need to get better and to feel better. And that's where Senate Bill 326 was going to begin the process, the long, drawn-out, bureaucratic process for 18 months of hand-selected veterans to do some research. And it would have proven that it works and it's safe and it's effective, and the VA could have started to prescribe this instead of all the opioids and everything else that is harmful for your body. But no, politics got involved here. So my question is, does America want to help end veteran suicide? I don't know. You tell me. I mean, I'm connecting all these dots right here, and what I'm seeing is a clear no. It's a clear no because their voting records and their actions are telling me so. Again, I want you to show me all these cannabis related deaths like you could show me with opioids and the use of this deadly fentanyl that's pouring across our border that they allow to happen, but yet shoot down medical marijuana in the VA. Just researching it. We could sit here until we're blue in the face and talk about how broken our system is, guys. There comes a time where we must come together and create a grassroots effort to actually do the work of the American people, to do the job that our elected officials have failed for so many generations to do for honorable men and women who have courageously served our country. Folks, you need to get off the sidelines and get in the game. You got to get involved. The local level. That's where it all starts. Start to pay a little bit more attention to how your members of Congress work and how they hold themselves and how they vote. It's important. And when you start to connect the dots on who needs to be reelected and what year it is and all this other stuff, you're like, holy cow. That's why he voted against party lines. He's not doing it. He's not doing it because he cares about the veteran community. He's doing it because he needs the 485,000 votes, the 425,000 votes in Missouri to be reelected. That's 10% of the state's population. Veterans are self-medicating every single day with high-end pharmaceuticals. And the big donors for all these senators are big pharma. Go figure, huh? Go figure. I'm not saying big pharma's all bad here, guys. Look, people need medicine. I get it. I take medicine from big pharma. And it does help me with a lot of things. And it also hurts my body in a lot of ways. Again, we're talking about alternatives that work, that have been proven to work. And I get it. People need to take diabetes medicine and high blood pressure medicine and cholesterol medicine, all that. That's great. I'm not shooting that down. But what I am saying is that if we have alternatives that are safe, why not give it a try? And again, we're past the point of doing research, guys. How much research do we need to do on stuff before it's just a broken record? Hey, it's not going to change. It's just the same. It's the going along to get along. Oh yeah, every 2 years I'm getting reelected in Congress. I work for a year and then I spend a year on the reelection trail talking to every veteran or whatever it may be about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to work for you and all that stuff. And then you get elected and then they do an about face and you'll never see them again. Now, that's not all members of Congress, but that's a lot of them. This is something I haven't really shared with a lot of people. I had so many members of Congress and the Senate support the tally bill, all 4 of my bills that you see behind me. But can you tell me why Congressman Dan Crenshaw never signed on to my bill? He never signed on to my bill. He gave me a runaround in Congress. I don't know how many emails myself and my team sent to Congressman Dan Crenshaw. And it's so funny how life works. I came from the 50th District of Southern California, Republican stronghold. Congressman Duncan Hunter was my congressman. Got forced out of Congress, kicked out, and that's when I had to become my own member of Congress, if you will. because I didn't have one. Again, the only district in the United States of America that didn't have a sitting member of Congress. And then I moved to Texas in 2020. And guess what? My congressman is Dan Crenshaw. He still doesn't ever return my emails. I've never done anything wrong to him. I've never even said his name in public until right now. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying he ignored me for years. And tell me why Rashida Tlaib signed on to my bill. A progressive Democrat signed on to a veteran bill who doesn't sign on to a lot of veteran bills. Perhaps she saw the fraud there and wanted to put an end to it. But why didn't Dan Crenshaw sign on to my bill? Again, guys, this is all politics here. It's all politics. It's all about who introduces the bill. For an example, HR 3813, 115th Congress. Congressman Mark Meadows, back when he was a congressman before he took the position to be the chief of staff of President Trump. He introduced the first version of the tally bill. Or no, it was the second version because Dave Bratt did the first one out of Virginia. Couldn't get any Democrats to sign on to the bill because Mark Meadows had introduced it. They didn't want him to look good. How dare we make Mark Meadows look good? So what did I do? I strategized and I went right to the Democrats and I said, look, let's take this same bill and let's introduce it. And I will have a meeting with Mark Meadows, and I will have a meeting with his professional staffers, and I will have him sign on to your bill to make it completely a bipartisan bill. We're going to have more traction in Congress if you have a bipartisan bill. And again, there should be no partisanship in veteran bills, but there is. So I got that to happen. And then guess what? The bill passed. So it's all about who is introducing the bills and the timing of all this stuff. It all has to do with timing. Now, let's get back to veteran suicide, because I sincerely believe that Senate Bill 326 would have saved a lot of lives. And I know the process is long, it's tiring, it's exhausting, but it would have been a great start. If we wanted to reduce veteran suicide, we need to have peer support wellness centers helping veterans across the country learn how to effectively use cannabis and learn how to effectively dose yourself. Because again, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Everybody needs to take different drops here and there, or whatever it may be. I don't smoke it. I do my drops under my tongue. It's all non-psychoactive. At nighttime, I take a little bit of THC through a gummy. It helps me sleep. I get better sleep with that than I ever would with a sleeping pill. And sleeping pills give me bad dreams. So again, I'm just confused here. I'm a little lost. But again, it's a hard conversation to have because it's political and it's emotional. And people get angry. But that's exactly what they want here. And I'm just trying to explain how it all works. Now, by doing so, by having these peer support wellness centers with these trained professionals, that right there can most definitely help prevent veteran suicide and increase the quality of their life. Now, the last time I checked, I sincerely believe that the people of America, our taxpayers, wouldn't mind one bit of having good money, good tax-paying money being thrown at a bad problem. And that's fixing this epidemic of veteran suicide. in health and wellness and getting them feeling better. Not all veterans are combat veterans, but a lot of veterans are broken. Mentally, physically. A lot of veterans went into the military with already having problems from childhood or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of veterans that suffer post-traumatic stress or have a lot of life challenges that never even seen combat. So this is something that can heal and help everybody. Not just a small percentage of people. It's broad base here, right? It could help everybody if you open your eyes and your heart to it and accept it as something that could possibly be a tool to fix you. Guys, you have to understand that citizen advocacy works and anybody can do it. And it's our duty to do so as Americans. Talk is cheap. The only way we invoke positive change is to take action. You have a voice, and it's time to use the voice. Right? It is time to use your voice by picking up the phone and calling your elected officials and letting them know how you feel about their voting record or about bills that are being denied or bills that are being passed, or you just got to get involved. Everybody just wants to sit back and whine and bitch and complain and moan about everything, but nobody gets involved. There's like a few of us out there. When you look at the broad spectrum of things that are trying to make positive change, when you're up against the army of the government. And it's supposed to be we the people, right? And there's 20.2 million American veterans out there. How many would like to experiment with CBD products and those cannabinoids that can help heal you? Or at least give you, again, the quality of life and the wellness that you're looking for. My own testimony is I've been on this for 6 months now, and it's worked on me. I look back at pictures from 6 months ago to now, and you could see a big difference. The pain's still there, yes, of course. So it's never going to go away, but I'm able to do things now I haven't done in over 7.5 years. Like go out and literally take my kids fishing, and to smile again, and to recapture so much of the time lost, quality time lost with my family. And that right there is priceless. That right there is priceless, folks. So this was not a prepared podcast. This was something that just happened yesterday. And I was called by a lot of people and they wanted my opinion on this. And again, I'm going to recap really quickly here. Yesterday, there was a cloture vote on the motion to proceed Senate Bill 326, and it was rejected. The majority, 3/5, fell short. The cloture pretty much means that we're done talking and it's time to vote. It did not go on to the next level. The opposition this time came from Senate Republicans. And like I have said previously, this has nothing to do with left, right, blue, red, or anything to do anymore. It all has to do with timing. Timing, and when the election cycle will hit. Both sides are guilty of this practice. Now, Senate Bill 326 would have pretty much given the VA to conduct this 18-month study. Again, if this bill would have passed cloture and it would have moved on to the next step, it would not have green-lighted the actual medicine itself to start being prescribed. It would not have green-lighted the medical marijuana, CBD, THC, hemp, all that stuff. They would not have had the power to prescribe it. It's all just research. And again, we're still talking about this right now is because it's emotional. And the veteran community is very engaged. And when the veteran community is very engaged, we get very loud. We got to get loud in a positive way, right? We got to fight this honorably. Now, in my opinion, it got blocked because they did not want to give Senator John Tester any feathers in his cap, in his cowboy hat up there in Montana, because it would make him look like he's doing his job. So they said, no, we're going to vote against it. We're going to say, screw the veterans, because we're voting party line. Like I had mentioned, this bill will pass. I know it will pass. And there will be plenty of fanfare, and there will be a victory lap. But that's not going to happen until we get closer to 2024. That's when you will see these members of the Senate flip script and say, see, we love veterans. All it's going to do is it's going to drive other tax-paying dollars to continued research and development on stuff that we already know works, because we've already done research and development on it for years and years and years and years and years. Congress plays both sides of the fence, and we, the people, allow them to do so. Sausage making is real in Congress, folks. That is the compromise, and that is the political theater. These guys will literally throw darts at each other all day and then go out and have a beer at the end of the day. Talk about how much they pissed off the American people today, and they think it's funny. Definitely a political move. And again, there's one thing I cannot tolerate is politicizing the veteran community, because they did it to my bill too. And it's sick. It's sick. We talked about fentanyl pouring through our border and how quickly the federal government could shut it down. And they decide not to. Meanwhile, bills like Senate Bill 326 are getting shot down, which is medical marijuana and cannabis and hemp. But yet fentanyl is okay. And we could shut it down in a week if we wanted to. We just don't want to. Does America want to end the veteran suicide epidemic? And I'm going to say no. I think it's too profitable for them. It's sad. So it takes veterans like us to police our own, to take care of our own, to ensure the safety and the comfort and the attention that folks are needing when they're reaching out gets handled by us, because really there's no one else coming to save you. And always, just like in anything, identify the problem, create the solution, create a grassroots coalition, and really at the end of the day, bring that purpose, that passion, and a plan with you. And if you have that on your side, you will be successful. So folks, I hope this all makes sense. Again, this was something I quickly put together. I've done some research, and I just wanted to share my opinion on this, and hope and pray for the best, right? That's all we can do. So without further ado, folks, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time, for Today with Tally, this is Brian Tally. Good night, Semper Fi, and God bless.